Hi, I'm JJ. Welcome and welcome back. I don't plan to do any real big book hauls this year because I am technically not trying to buy anything unless it's already been on my list. But I did just recently find a local used bookstore that has antique and classic books. So I found it and I got a couple books and I just wanted to share them with you. And it's called Just Around the Book Corner, which I thought was really cute. But I only got three of them. I just wanted to share them with you. The first one is Pavilion of Women. And this is by Pearl S. Buck. And she wrote the Good Earth trilogy, which I believe she won an award for, but I can't remember if it was the Nobel or... I think it was a Nobel Prize, but it was about the history, and I only read the first of the trilogy, but it was about a family history of this a poor farming family who finally was able to get some land and work the land, and the land represented so much to the father, and all he had to sacrifice and endure to maintain, and then to get it, maintain it, and try to have something to pass along to his sons. But towards the end of that book, after you get the whole life story and him raising his kids and what they had to go through as a family, when the sons grow up and are in need of money, the first thing that they want to do is sell that land, and how it kind of represents the complete differences between the two generations, but also how there's that disconnect there, since they didn't have to endure and sacrifice, and they didn't know and understand the significance of the land. They're so willing to get rid of it and sell it. So it's an interesting book. I do eventually intend to continue that series. But anyway, this one is, it sounds really good. It's from the same author, and it's about a woman. Once again, this author writes a lot about China. She had a lot of experience there, was fascinated by it, did a lot of research and stuff. So it's not a own voices author. It's just a classic, in the sense that it's old, and it's probably aged not so well, but at least it's I feel like it will be an important read. And so it talks about Madame Wu is not only an individual woman with her beginnings grounded in fact, she is a woman in search of her own selfhood. She happens to live in China, but actually lives everywhere, in the soul of every woman ever born. If she seems partial in reality, then it is I who have lacked the skill to perfect the communication. She made herself real enough to me. And that's from the author. About what her story is. And I do, it was a very cheap copy. I think I paid like $4 for it. So the dust cover isn't in the best shape, but it does have a really nice hardcover. So it has that, and then it has pictures, which I believe somebody colored, which is not ideal. But it is, it actually does kind of make it look interesting though. So that's the first book. And then the next one is National Velvet. And this is about a horse, and this is fun too. It has different, like in the cover within there. I was looking for who the author of this was. Enid Bagnold. And so this is a children's book, or young people's a book about a horse, National Velvet, and I have not read this one yet. And the thing is, I have read and enjoyed a couple of supposedly children's books that were based on horses. The first one being Black Stallion, and then Black Beauty, and then most recently The Red Pony. And all of them have been really fun and interesting. And I just wanted, this one has been on my list, and I just wanted to read this. And I think this is a really nice copy. And they, this one was $6, so I only paid a little for it. And while I was there, I also found they have these really cool, blind date with the books, which is how I started this whole YouTube channel. But it says from the library of just around the book, and then it's a biography, historical, suspenseful, gripping, and intriguing is the kind that I got. And it is a hardcover, I can feel that. But what's really cool is how it's wrapped here. They actually have different bookmarks that were included. Oh, this one's kind of cool. It's a magnetic one. I don't have any like that. And then some stickers. That's what I do. I read and know things. Quote from Game of Thrones, but with reading instead of drinking. And then write something worth reading or do something worth writing. A quote from Benjamin Franklin. And then it also comes with spiced apple and vanilla tea. All right, so I'm going to open that up. They used a lot of tape. I actually wish that I didn't have to open it because the wrapping is really cool. I like how they did that all individually. Oh wow, okay, so I have not read or heard much about this one. A Death in San Pietro. The Untold Story of Ernie Pyle, John Huston, and the Fight for the Purple Heart Valley. So it's near a small town, mountain town in Italy. A path of celebrated journalist Ernie Pyle crossed with Captain Henry Wascow. From that intersection came one of the great stories of World War II. For Americans back home, their war will never seem the same. So what's really fascinating about getting this book randomly is my family connection to Ernie Pyle. My grandpa has been obsessed with this journalist for, since World War II. He covered his brother in World War II. He was in Okinawa and was shot at, and he got to meet Ernie Pyle. Was in the squad that my great uncle, so just one great uncle was leading, and they got attacked. And there's actually a write-up about my uncle leading his platoon to safety, written by Ernie Pyle. So my grandpa has been fascinated with him. I grew up always knowing about Ernie. He would pull out the encyclopedia and show me the entry of Ernie Pyle. There's been a couple of books that Ernie Pyle wrote that my grandpa had shared with me. And my great uncle, was my grandpa's favorite person. He was his hero. He was quite a bit older than my grandpa. And he ended up getting really hurt in combat, and ended up, he survived, but so I live in Michigan, and the injuries actually, he had to move out west to Arizona where it was dry because the injuries that he suffered made it really hard to live in the seasonal weather and the cold weather that we have up here. So even though he survived, he had to live separate from his family, and my grandpa didn't get to see him very much after. But Ernie Pyle is very, uh, it's just someone that I knew a lot about, but I actually don't know this story in detail or specifically. So I'm actually really excited that this was the one that I got. And out of all the choices there were and all the books that it could have been, I would have never thought to purchase this one on my own. So I'm actually really excited to have it. Anyway, A Death in San Pietro. And it's by Tim Brady. So if anyone else has read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts. Or if you read any of the other ones that I got, please let me know so I kind of know what expectations to have going in. But overall, it was a really great little gem that I found within a really cool local bookstore. Anyway, as always, thank you and happy reading.